who is only playable in this game. Real-world Muay Thai kickboxing champ.
Really? Wait, what is this? Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the KOF Retrospective. I believe this is part 4.2. So last time, somehow, someway, Pachinko died. SNK came back after realizing that the Pachinko ship was not to be, and KOF 14 exists now. Awesome. So then how does it all go wrong yet again? I still need to know.
Please, no.
I'm pretty sure it did, maybe it didn't. Who knows? I do want to add here in the intro that I've seen your comments, guys. I haven't told Servi, but I've seen your comments. We will check it out when we finish the retrospective. I want to make sure that we get all this done first before we look at that.
I've been told to stay out of the comments, and that terrifies me.
Don't worry about it. It's nothing bad. It's actually something really good, maybe.
Okay.
But yeah. Thorgi released his 100K video, which is really cool, and we'll check that out probably after this. We'll see if we can find some time for it. And for those of you saying you're probably going to check out Street Fighter next, probably not. There's quite a few things that we do want to get to, and Street Fighter is going to be likely a half-year journey, I'll be honest with you guys, because there are even more parts than King of Fighters somehow.
Oh boy.
And we might check out we might check out a video from, I forget his full name, Clement. He had like a lore video on Tekken as well as Street Fighter, which is like a little more condensed, 2 hours or something for both. So that might be a good primer before you get into Thorgi's like super long deep dive into the production and the creation of all the stuff. Maybe we should do some
smaller ones in between before we start another giant one.
Yeah. I think the next one is probably Darkstalkers. I was planning to do that in October, but we didn't have the time for it.
I've been interested in that, yeah.
I think you would absolutely love the art style for that. A classic game that for whatever reason they haven't brought back because they, I don't know, they make good decisions, I guess. Regardless, though.
Of course, always.
If you guys haven't already, please go and support Thorgi. Link to that very top of the description, like always. And let's get into this.
But before we get to that, yes, folks, King of Fighters 15 is the final game so far in the King of Fighters series. With that, we will finally be up to date. But I made you guys a promise at the start of this retrospective. I said this was going to be a retrospective that covered the complete King of Fighters library. And King of Fighters has a lot. And I mean a lot of spin-offs. So before we get to King of Fighters 15 and bring this massive video...
the games that the characters are pulled from as a spin-off to King of Fighters?
Ooh. That's tough. We'll have to see what criteria we're talking about here, because if we're going to talk about all of the like crossovers for the characters, that might be a little bit out of scope and might make the video way too long. We can talk about just Iori for probably like 3 hours or something with how many games he's been in. Not to speak of Terry, but Terry's more a Fatal Fury character.
Series to a close. It's time for the lightning round. Time to run down all the KOF spin-offs. All of them? All of them. Well, okay. No, not all of them. I'm not going to cover the KOF Pachinko games because nothing of any importance came from them, and I'm not going to cover most of the mobile and browser games. I will cover a few of them because there's actually a couple of interesting...
Is this like Summoner's War, but King of Fighter characters? Oh, God.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Oh, please, no.
I mean, we should have known that they would go for the cash grab gotchas. That just checks out.
I mean, yeah. But it's just, it hurts so much to see these beloved characters just in this format, you know? In this evil format, to a mockery of gaming. Ugh.
Them are exactly the same, and more importantly, a lot of them, and I mean a lot of the KOF mobile and browser games, popped up, existed for a week, and then shut down. Not even the SNK wiki page has anything on most of these games, and there is no footage of them online anywhere, so... Yeah, I'm just going to skip a lot of the mobile and browser games because any evidence of them ever existing appears to have been erased from the timeline, and as I said, They don't even really look all that interesting or worth noting. Also, I'm not going to cover most of the re-releases, simply because over the last 3 videos, I've kind of already talked about all the important ones. Most of the re-releases I haven't talked about yet didn't really add anything or change enough to be worth mentioning. And remember, we're only talking about King of Fighters games, not SNK crossover games, which people like to think of as KOF games, but are in fact not. But aside from all those stipulations,
what the hell is this?
We're going to be covering all of them. Gonna start off where the series began, with King of Fighters 94, or in this case, King of Fighters 94 Rebound. This was a remake made for the series' 10-year anniversary in 2004 for the PlayStation 2, and essentially just took the exact gameplay from KOF 94 and retraced the sprites and made new backgrounds. There are some balance changes, but yeah, you're not going to notice them. I had to read descriptions online of what the differences were because it feels exactly the same as KOF 94, and by I mean bad. Even the busted input reading AI is back, and I still hate it. This game never got released outside Japan, although there was an Xbox version in the works for international customers, but that got canceled in 2006 due to the game's overwhelming negative feedback, and that's not just due to the gameplay. The sprites might be retraced, but they still look severely outdated. And while I haven't been able to
I don't hate the idea of it for the 10-year anniversary, but it's gotta be more than this. Like a full remake of the original game so people can experience it if it was like made with modern technology. I think that would be really cool. But just tracing over the sprites and giving you new backgrounds and selling it to you again, that's a slap in the face, man.
I feel like with remakes and remasters, either one, if the game had a lot of flaws when it came out the first time, you really got to put in the elbow grease to actually, fix that up and make it more playable, because otherwise there's no purpose to it. You're going to have the same issues you had the first time around. Like, Near Replicant's a good example of that. They fixed a lot of Near Replicant. It is still janky and has issues, but compared to the original, it is much more playable.
Yeah.
100%. And it had to be, because if they just put out Near Replicant as it was in the original launch, no one would play that shit.
Yeah. It's only like the diehard fans who knew Yoko Taro, and
even those were like, well, I'm not going through that again.
I'm not replaying the game because of the Force of Words specifically. I'm not going back there ever again.
From this, apparently there are reports that the reason why King of Fighters 12 spent so much time and money on their sprites is because of how much people hated the KOF 94 Rebound sprites. So,
okay, maybe something good did come out of it then. Like, we're trying to spruce things up for our next game.
Not only was this game a bomb, it also led to KOF 12. So it screwed over SNK twice. I will say I do like...
Well, I mean, yeah, if we're talking specifically 12, that was just way too much on our plate with way too little time for that. Oh yeah, that's right, because 12 was trying to be rushed to release on anniversary, and so it was an incomplete game, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of comments, though, talk about how 12 probably would have been received a lot more positively if they had just made it like a 1v1 game. And made it like a special edition, sort of. Not like a fully blown numbered King of Fighters. That probably would have gone over much better.
I feel like that would have, been their best bet, not to make it part of the numbered series.
That said, marketing for SNK has been horrific, so I wouldn't expect them to come up with an idea like that.
The cameos in the stages, pretty much every single KOF, Fatal Fury, and Art of Fighting character makes an appearance. But if you stop and zoom in on these stages...
What is that?
Eek.
Yeah.
And the backgrounds are fully 3D, except you can't move in 3D.
They're crispy.
So what that means is that whenever you start up a match, the stage is just set to a random angle.
What?
Which is maybe one of the dumbest executions of 3D stages I've ever seen. And if you want to know the reason why it's 3D, is because this game keeps the sidestep action from the first game rather than the dodge roll mechanic of the later games. And when you sidestep, the whole stage swivels with you.
Ew, what the fuck is that?
No, that's not good.
That looks horrific. I don't want to imagine how it would feel to actually play with that constantly shifting back and forth. God, that'd give me a headache.
That would make me, nauseous.
Is it normal to get motion sick from a 2D fighting game?
yeah.
But I will give it one positive. It does have a lengthy animated opening video, which is actually kind of nice. I dig that shows what everyone in the original roster was doing when they joined the tournament. Although this opening cutscene does reveal something that I have never been able to get out of my head, which is that apparently Mai is really short. Like, Yuri is even taller than her.
Damn.
Mai, have you been wearing platform heels in all the other games? I had no idea you were this short. Next, speaking of poorly received spin-offs, in the last part, I said that King of Fighters 11 was the very first game SNK made on the Atomic Wave hardware. But that's not entirely true. It was the first mainline KOF game made for the Atomic Wave hardware. But SNK didn't want to dedicate a brand new mainline installment to this hardware without testing it first. So, that's also in 2004, man, that was not the best year for SNK, was it? Also in 2004, they put out King of Fighters Neo Wave, specifically to test the Atomic Wave. And it's essentially just a worse version of KOF 2002. It takes many of the characters from KOF 2002, but leaves out some notable ones. For example, all the characters who were made by Eolith. Yeah, remember how I said I had a feeling that SNK didn't like working for Eolith, so when they became their own company again, they just ignored a lot of the characters made for KOF 2001? That starts here.
So I'm assuming we don't have our Super Sentai girl here for that reason, and that's why Thorgi brought it up. It's unfortunate because I actually really do like her character a lot, but...
Yeah, I do too.
As I said, this is essentially a port of KOF 2002, but they left out Mei Li, Angel, and K49. Yeah, it does not take a detective to see the connection between these three characters.
Yeah.
Although, I will mention that Angel and Mei Li were added back in for the PS2 port. And there is one new addition to this game. Kind of. The final boss of this game is Geese Howard, but not just any Geese Howard. It's young Geese from Art of Fighting 2.
Let's go.
Why? I have zero idea. But apparently Geese was really tough back in his younger days because this is one of the most broken Geese Howards in any game. Heck, he's even one of the toughest bosses in KOF history. Massive specials that he just spams like crazy, perfectly timed input reading supers, and he can do so much damage that you just die instantly. Oh, and there's one other advantage that young Geese has over you. Your buttons are bugged to hell. King of Fighters Neo Wave is one of the worst received KOF games, and if you're just looking at the footage, you're probably thinking, I don't know, it doesn't seem that bad. But the second you get your hands on it, you realize, oh, this doesn't feel right. This game just decides at random whether or not it reads your inputs. I know it looks like I'm just mashing buttons, but I swear to you, I am trying to do some of the most basic super inputs, and they will just not come out. And there's a new mechanic, a button called Heat Mode, that causes you to flash red, and while you're red, your life bar will drain, but you'll do extra damage. Except that sometimes it bugs out, and you just don't do any extra damage. But you still lose life. And it's supposed to last until you get hit or you decide to turn it off yourself.
Oh, that's
Unless
hilarious.
the game bugs out and just says, nah, heat mode over, it's done, go home folks. Yeah, this was SNK testing the Atomic Wave, and that's all this was, a test. But thank God they did it, because can you imagine if KOF 11 played like this?
Yeah.
Yikes. But if for some reason you do want to play this and test it out for yourself, it is backwards compatible for the Xbox, meaning that you can still buy it digitally. Okay, so we're 0 for 2 for spin-offs, but there is one re-release.
Well, you know, at least SNK as a company is really good at releasing all their old games as ports, so they're still very accessible even nowadays. But this may be one I want to skip. I don't have a hankering to go back and check this one out.
That is worth mentioning. KOF 96 was the game that really started to delve deep into the Orochi Saga and started to develop the backstory of Kyo and Iori and the Sacred Treasures, and if you want to learn all about that, then you can pick up King of Fighters 96 Neo Geo Collection for the Neo Geo CD. This was essentially just a straight port of the original 96, except that it also included character bios narrated by the characters themselves, and a lengthy cutscene detailing the history of the Orochi and how the rivalry between Kyo and Iori's families began. That's actually a cool bonus for a re-release. But
it does indeed look a little bit silly. Well, that's probably why they were like, we'll go down to this badass human form instead. Because our regular form is a little bit silly.
Remake of the first game, a game testing out some new hardware, a game that adds in some story content to it. That's the kind of stuff that you would expect from a spin-off. Let's get weird. SNK has always been a throw it at the wall and see what sticks kind of company, and that was true all the way back at the very beginning. King of Fighters 94 was released in August 1994. King of Fighters 95 was released in July 1995. And right smack dab in the middle of those two, in February 95, making it the second King of Fighters game ever released, Quiz King of Fighters. Yes, SNK had a whole line of arcade quiz games at this time, and in Quiz King of Fighters, Yuri Sakazaki has been kidnapped and you pick one of 6 playable characters to search for her, including Terry Bogard and Mai Shiranui from Fatal Fury, Ryo Sakazaki and Robert Garcia from Art of Fighting, and Halmaru or Nakaruru from Samurai Showdown. Yes, remember, this was the second game to sport the King of Fighters name. And at this point, there wasn't a big overarching plot revolving around Kyo or Orochi. No, at this point, King of Fighters was still just meant to be a crossover game between SNK properties. So none of the original KOF characters make an appearance, instead it's just a big crossover between SNK's 3 biggest fighters. From there, you roll a dice to move across the board, where you'll find random goons or guest characters from the series who you'll have to fight, which you do by answering questions correctly. It sounds like a super fun, cute spin-off to me, but it just blows my mind that this was the second King of Fighters game to come out.
Right? Of all the things,
to even, like, quiz you on.
Yeah, there probably wouldn't be a whole lot, and I'm assuming the questions themselves would be very simplistic. Like, as long as you knew the characters or SNK as a whole, you could probably answer them. I suppose this was like a genre of arcade games that were there, because I mean, even in Persona 3, you can go into the arcade and play like a quiz game there, so I've never personally been to an arcade, so I'm assuming that's just a thing.
I have no idea.
It's just very interesting, though. This was the second game of all things to be released, just in the middle of 94,
like,
95.
In an arcade, you would put in, like, use your quarters or whatever currency you're in, and you're just going to play a quiz game? I don't know. That just seems like an odd...
Well, you're trying to level up your intelligence stat, okay? So, yeah, you need that in order to talk to Mitsuru, which is very worthwhile, so I would recommend it.
I see. I gotcha.
And there was a point in time where you could actually say 50% of the King of Fighters games are quiz games.
Oh, that's
Speaking of text-heavy games that only came out in Japan, King of Fighters Kyo. This was a light novel made for the PlayStation back in 1998, set 1 month before the events of King of Fighters 97. You follow Kyo as he travels the world and get to meet up with other KOF characters, and you can even recruit them to join your team by doing quests.
Oh wait, did he call it a light novel again? I completely glossed over that. Thorgi, no! He's gonna get cooked at the toast again, no! Oh, poor guy.
There are some turn-based battles in here, but they're not the big appeal of the game. No, this is a game for the KOF lore nuts. I've said so many times that this series does a great job of fleshing out the world and creating dynamics between characters, and that's basically what this whole game is. You get to have unique interactions and dialogue with almost every single character from the previous KOF games. You get to actually see the relationships between Kyo and his girlfriend Yuki, who up until now had mostly only been in the mangas. And we even get to meet other important characters for the first time, like Kyo's mother or Goro Diamond's girlfriend and future wife.
Oh, damn!
She isn't given a
goddamn Goro Diamond. You're doing pretty good for yourself.
Name in here, but she is a professor at Osaka University. Again, I love how KOF will set up supporting characters for different fighters. Then we get to see their relationships develop over different games. Like the fact that Goro gets a girlfriend in this game made in 1998, then he's gone for the next few years. Then he pops up in KOF 2001 and he now has a kid. It makes you realize, oh damn, that one has a whole life outside of these tournaments. Good for him. But if we're talking new characters important to the extended lore, this game introduced Kyo's 2 cousins. Soji Kusanagi, who was supposed to be the future leader of the Kusanagi clan, but retired because apparently there's a dark side to the Kusanagi power that he knew he couldn't resist, so he quit fighting. That's a hell of a lot of lore that the main games never bring up. And there's Soji's sister Aoi, who not only has flame powers like the other Kusanagis, but when she meets the Hizoku, the followers of Orochi, in an act of rebellion...
Alita.
I was gonna say she reminds me of the red-haired girl from Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, but that's probably because of the biker outfit.
Against her family,
Aki, I think her name was,
to join them and gains purple flames like Iori. By the end of the game, she rejoins her family, but this is still wild to me. I'll admit the number of KOF spin-off games that are canon are slim to none, but I've looked into this, and I think this game actually is canon. I mean, we met Daimon's future wife in here, it's gotta be canon adjacent at least. Which means Aoi Kusanagi may actually exist in the main KOF timeline, and if that's the case, SNK, why have you not put her in a main game?
Right?
You got a motorcycle riding Rebel Kusanagi with Orochi flames, how the hell has she never been playable before? Like, at least put some dialogue in one of the games about it. I would kill to have a match start with an exchange between Kyo and Iori that's just, so, how's your cousin? Oh, f*** off, Iori. Forget your fan favorite picks and your staple characters, Aoi Kusanagi for KOF 16. Give her both orange and purple flame attacks. Have one attack come out of each hand. Or just merge them together and make blue
really
flames.
cool.
That is some DLC I will pay for on day one. Now, if you want to play this game, it only came out in Japan, but if you can read Japanese and you have a PS3, it is available as a PS1 classic on the Japanese PSN store. And there have been some dedicated modders slowly translating the whole thing into various different languages over the years, so hopefully one day we will all be able to experience this massive KOF
Shout out to the
lore
modders.
dive. By the way, while we're talking about spin-offs focusing on specific characters, I mentioned this briefly in part 2, but Athena also got her own spin-off that was this weird...
Oh yeah, the weird-ass Athena games. Wasn't there like a whole RPG thing surrounding her? Oh, good.
I have no
See
idea.
it.
survival horror and an RPG called
Survival
Athena
horror.
Awakened from the Ordinary Life. But personally, I consider this to be more of a Psycho Soldier spin-off than a King of Fighters spin-off,
Yeah,
so I'm
I'd
not
say
going
so.
to cover it for this video. Same thing goes for SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy. I know people are going to argue that this is a King of Fighters game since it's canon to the King of Fighters universe.
Canon.
But to me, it's more of an SNK crossover than a KOF crossover. If anything, this feels
that's
more
fair.
like a spiritual successor to SNK Gal Fighter, so I guess I'll save this for 2037 when I eventually do a retrospective on that series. Next up, definitely a competitor for weirdest KOF spinoff, King of Fighters Sky Stage.
Okay, what is this?
This is a vertical...
Oh my god. What the fuck? You're shitting me. Terry's just flying through the sky, shooting triangles at people?
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
arcade shoot 'em up where you have to rescue fighters trapped in Orochi's dimensional prison. So heroes from the King of Fighters have magically gained the power to fly and shoot out laser beams. And the first time I read that description, I literally laughed out loud. Just the image of Terry Bogard just chilling, hanging out one day, eating a burger, and then the next thing he knows, he's flying through the air, shooting out Kamehameha beams. You can play as Kyo, Iori, Terry, Kula Diamond, Athena, or Mai as you battle bullet hell versions of Orochi and his followers. And hey, fun fact, remember how KOF 12 got an English dub for the characters? Well, that same cast returns to reprise their role in this game. Sadly, the English voice cast is not credited in this game, dick move SNK, but I swear Gainitz is being voiced by Patrick Seitz. And I was able to track down and find out that Kyo was played by Peter Von Gom, who has a long-running acting career, including playing Flame Heinerd in Mega Man X7, and now I can't unhear this. Burn to the ground! Burn to the ground! Burn to the ground! So yes, they made an arcade shoot-'em-up featuring flying KOF characters, and... why does this exist?
Good question.
I'll be real with you guys. I can't judge the quality of this game because I don't play shmups, so
Same.
I have no idea if this is a good one or a bad one.
Neither.
Although, considering that the game is only about half an hour long, and yet the completion rate for it on Xbox is insanely low, yeah, maybe it's got some problems.
Maybe. Maybe the premise of it just isn't funny enough. Regardless, though, I'm kind of surprised and also not surprised at the fact that SNK, the company that releases so many experimental games, released experimental games for King of Fighters. Yeah, so
Shocking.
Shoot 'em up may just be the beginning of this whole iceberg of side story games.
To be honest, I have no issue with this, though. I think it's fun to just go out of there and just throw something weird at the wall.
That's one of the things I like about SNK.
Super asset heavy.
Yeah, and this one probably wasn't a huge money sink, but I am still worried for them. We do make a lot of horrible business decisions. It's I do want them to keep up this experimentation, though. It's what creates new things. It's what helps with innovation to the gaming industry.
But I just want to know why this exists. This wasn't even made during the weird SNK early experimental years. No.
Never mind. Everything that I just said just went out the window. Okay. I'm sorry. I should have just let the video play. My bad.
This was made in 2010. This was one of the last things SNK did before they closed up their gaming division. Oh, wow. Who'd have thought turning Mai Shiranui into a fighter jet wouldn't save the company? I'm shocked. The only thing
Okay. What if save the company if they turned her into a dinosaur? No, that I would buy.
I can say that makes this game worth checking out is that there's actually a lot of unique dialogue between characters that you wouldn't normally see interacting. Seeing Terry Bogard give a pick-me-up speech to Athena, or seeing what Kula Diamond thinks of Iori, this is some stuff that you don't normally get in the mainline game, so if you're into this series for the characters, there's some decent stuff in here. It's way better than you'd expect. And that brings us to King of Fighters Online, which was a MOBA set in the KOF universe made by Korean developers Dragonfly in 2013.
A MOBA?
There is not a lot of information on this out there, but near as I can tell, it included playable versions of every KOF character up to KOF 13, and they all had unlockable costumes.
What the fuck? What is that?
What?
I would 100% try this out. It looks so weird. Why? Oh, God. Oh, man, I'm getting PTSD flashbacks
so
to my League of
funny.
Legends days. But, you know, this might be one of the MOBAs that I could actually get Serby into.
No shot. I'm sorry.
No,
Not
but
even
it's
a
funny.
chance.
It's really freaking
No.
funny. What are the minions? What are they?
I can't tell.
They look like
I
little
can't
gnome
tell.
people. Oh, Jesus.
You could get by playing the game, but I can only find a release date set in
Ooh.
Thailand, so...
Oh, wait, what? What? How did I not know this? That is a Thai.
What are the odds?
I need to contact some people. I maybe wasn't around here for this, but it is. What the fuck? Released in Thailand of all places. Okay.
So I don't think it ever made much of an impact around the world. I've looked up gameplay footage of it, and I mean, it looks alright. The character models look fine, but
yeah,
I am not a
it looks
MOBA
like a
player
MOBA.
either, so I can't really comment on any of this. Sorry.
it looks for a MOBA. As a MOBA player, it's very bare bones. Like, we very obviously just copy pasted like the League of Legends format here. The map on the bottom right even just looks kind of the same, except we've stylized it differently. We even have the D and the F like summoner abilities too, with the recall and B. yeah, it's the League of Legends.
Although it is worth pointing out that this game did introduce a brand new character into the KOF series who is only playable in this game. Real world Muay Thai kickboxing champ.
Yo, Bokao? Really? Wait, what is this? What? Huh? How did I not know about this?
Sambat Banchamek is in this game as a playable character, going under his ring name, Buakao Banchamek.
Bokhao's a legend over here, yeah? So, he's a household name. What a dude.
Nice.
What the fuck? He was in a game? He was technically in a King of Fighters game.
Dude, he's canon to King of Fighters now.
What the? Okay. I did not expect this at all from today's recording session. I thought we were
Right.
gonna get into like how SNK fell down again and couldn't get back up, but then they got back up. But what?
And that brings us to the end of the crazy world of King of Fighters spin-offs. On home consoles, because when it comes to the handheld consoles, we're just getting started. First off, two quick ports. King of Fighters 95 and 96 both got ports under the OG Game Boy, and they play... Well, what do you want me to say? They're fighting games on the OG Game Boy. They weren't going to feel very good. But it is actually impressive how many of the mechanics from King of Fighters 95 and 96 they fit in here. For example, in 95, you can sidestep, and 96, you can dodge roll, and you have your desperation moves when your life is low enough, or you can charge up your super mirror, just like in the arcade games, but I am begging you not to do that because the charging sound in these games is horrendous.
Uh-oh.
What the? Oh god. Oh no.
Although I will admit the chiptune renditions of the classic SNK tracks are actually pretty good. But the combat is crazy quick. Oftentimes your two little pixel warriors are on top of each other and you have no idea who is doing what. But the real reason to mention these games is because King of Fighters 96, or as it was known in the West as King of Fighters Heat of Battle, included Mr. Karate as an unlockable character, and King of Fighters 95 included Nakaruru, probably as a tribute to the fact that she was cut from the original release of King of Fighters 95. And boy is she overpowered! She's got specials that can launch you into space, and when she gets low on health, she can do her desperation move, and it does over half your life, and near as I can tell, it's unblockable. And remember, desperation moves can be spammed over and over as long as you're low on health, so she can just do this infinitely. This little Falcon Priestess is mad that she got cut from the main release, and she's going to make it everybody's problem. Then, moving over to the Neo Geo Pocket and Pocket Color, SNK put out several fighting games on these charming little handhelds that feature chibi versions of your favorite characters duking it out. First up is King of Fighters R1 in 1998, which was meant to be largely a retelling of King of Fighters 97. They still use the team format of the mainline games, but the pairings are wild. You got the Saviors team made up of Kyo, Iori, and Chizuru, making this the very first time that these three were all featured as an official team rather than as a secret team. The New Faces team is made up of Yashiro, Shermie, and Chris. Then another crazy combination, Team Southtown, made up of Terry, Ryo Sakazaki, and Kim Kapwan. The only time these three have ever been on a team together. And lastly, Team Heroine, made up of Athena, Yuri, and Mai, a team you might want to remember for later. Then you also had Leona and Shingo as single-entry characters, Orochi Yori and Orochi Leona as mid-bosses, Team Awakened Orochi as the sub-bosses, and then Orochi himself as the final boss. That is a very meaty selection of characters to include into a tiny handheld gaming cartridge.
That's SNK.
And even if they weren't able to include as many teams as you would normally get in the main game, they were still able to shuffle the teams around so that way it covered the whole KOF fandom. Then next year for the Pocket Color, they released R2. The sprites for this game are very similar, but they are exploding with bright colors, and the teams are changed around again with some very interesting results. You got Team Kusanagi, made up of Shingo, Kyo, and his father Seo, the only time that those two have been on a team together. Then Team New Southtown, made up of Terry, Ryo, and Mai, again, the only time you will ever see those three on a team together. The New Faces team returns unchanged. And lastly, you have Athena, Yuri, and Kasumi forming, and I swear to you, this is the actual team name, Team Super Babe. Who signed them up under that name? Was it Robert?
Boy.
Kinzo? Who was it? Was it Mai? It sounds like it was Mai. Then for single entry characters, you got Leona and Iori, who I am just now realizing 10 hours into this retrospective would actually make for a really cool team together. Pair them up with a third Orochi Blood character, that's a team I want to play. Aoi Kusanagi.
Yes, please.
And then once again, you got the Awakened Orochi team as the sub-bosses, and the final boss is Rugal, essentially making this a chibi version of KOF 98. Rugal even blows up his ship again, only now it's with a giant cartoony bomb, and I can't help but laugh at that. Now, this was a dream match, so there's no official story to it, but after you beat the game, you do unlock Making Mode. This is a mode that does have a story all about you going around to stop Rugal's army of clones, and in order to do that, you take any character you want, rename them, and equip unlockable moves to them to fully customize how they play.
That's really cool.
If you ever wanted to rename Ryu and then give him a gun, now's your opportunity to do that. I remember when I was a kid, I only knew SNK for Fatal Fury. I didn't know anything about King of Fighters, but I remember seeing these games advertising the Neo Geo Pocket Color, and I wanted them so bad. These little sprites were just loaded with charm, and compared to the Game Boy Color at the time, this combat looked so much smoother. Luckily, the second game has now been released as part of the Neo Geo Pocket Color collection, and yeah, it's actually really good. It is way better than I would expect an old handheld fire to play. This is not nostalgia talking here. I never touched these things before this video, and it is insane how good they are. You only have 2 buttons, and yet they were able to capture almost all of the KOF moves and mechanics, and sometimes they were able to make them feel even smoother than in the actual arcade games. I was stunned
That's really insane, because you'd expect this to just be like a fun little side project that they did and didn't pay too much attention to it, but it seems like they've ironed out a lot of the systems and actually put some thought behind it. That's that's good. Love it.
And how much stuff could be comboed together and how good it all felt. Like, this is not a, oh, hey, it's King of Fighters on the go, gimmick fighter. No, this is a legit fighting game that actually feels good to play. I would rather play this than about half of the mainline KOF games. It's that fun. So, that was a good Neo Geo Pocket Color game. How about a weird one? King of Fighters Battle Day Paradise. This is essentially the KOF version of Mario Party, as you have to roll dice and walk around different boards and play a variety of minigames. But you don't use KOF characters on the board. No, instead you pick 4 brand new original characters. There's the fashionable Ai, the common cool Masamune, the clumsy but good-natured Hatuko, and the hot-blooded main character type, Yuji. I'm sorry, wait. The point of Battle Day Paradise is to become the best at games, and SNK actually named the protagonist Yuji? Just wondering, but when did this game come out? And when did a certain manga about a car-loving king of games come out? Cool, just checking. Total coincidence, I'm sure.
Definitely.
Even though you pick one of these 4 new characters to represent you on the board, they're not the ones who are actually playing the game. No, for that, you have to pick yourself a striker. A KOF character who will be the one that you control during certain games. They include Kyo, Athena, Daimon, Yamazaki, Chizuru, and Billy Kane. But you can also unlock Shio Kirishima, Fiolina Jeremy, Guy Tendo, and Alfred Airhawk. In case you're thinking this is the weirdest collection of characters to represent the King of Fighters, you're right, but there is actually a reason for it. These 10 characters are the secret additional strikers added to the Dreamcast version of King of Fighters 99. And you can actually link your pocket color to your Dreamcast to unlock these characters faster.
What?
Side note, I had zero idea you could link your Neo Geo Pocket Color to your Dreamcast. What a weird combination of consoles.
What? What is this?
Fascinating.
I didn't think that, like, you know, the tech and consoles that we had back in the day was gonna be doing all this, but I mean, it's a cool idea, I guess. Neat.
I remember, like, you could hook up your Game Boy to the GameCube at one point as, like, an extra controller, I think. I could be making stuff up, but I was pretty sure you could. Like, if you had the right extension thing.
Yeah.
I never had the GameCube, but I was pretty sure at my friend's house we did something like that.
I don't know.
Between the Neo Geo and the Dreamcast, that's such a funny combination.
Indeed. I guess we had some innovative ideas back in the day when it came to consoles.
Together. However, there are a ton of additional KOF characters who pop up in the games and the menus or to sell you items, making this probably the only time I have ever seen K-Dash smiling, and oh man, does that look unnatural. It feels like he's been replaced by a pod person. As for the game itself, listen, just like with shoot 'em ups, just like with MOBAs, I don't play Mario Party. But even I can tell you this is not a good Mario Party game. The boards are kind of a mess, and it doesn't really matter what you roll because every 4 or 5 spots there's a special space that instantly stops you. But what matters isn't the boards, it's the games. And I am so torn on them because some of them are super generic, like just jumping to collect coins or yanking carrots out of the ground as Shermie. Not sure of the connection between Shermie and gardening, but okay. But when the game actually feels like it's trying to be a tribute to KOF, it is insanely charming. Trying to avoid Kim as Chang and Choi, trying to find soldiers in the grass while avoiding Leona, and the best, winding up Brian Battler to make him fly into space. This may be one of the craziest things I have ever seen from KOF, and I love it. Like, why wasn't Brian Battler in Sky State? He doesn't even need magic powers to fly. Just rev him up and he's good to go. And that brings us to the final 2 handheld KOF games, and these are 2 of the biggest, as they're some of the only spin-off games to actually create brand new characters and even establish new lore. Non-canonical lore, but lore nonetheless.
Damn.
I'm talking about King of Fighters EX Neo Blood for the Game Boy Advance, released in 2002. This game has a lot of fans. Out of all the spin-offs, this is the one that I got the most requests to talk about, even more than Maximum Impact. And the premise behind them is really interesting, as they essentially create a split timeline. The story of Neo Blood is that after the Sacred Treasures beat Orochi in KOF 97, Kyo wasn't abducted by Nest. Instead, he was found by a young American girl named Moe Habana. She nurses him back to health and then decides to join him in the next King of Fighters tournament. Moe fights with Jeet Kune Do, which I find very interesting because remember, K-Dash was the protagonist of the NES Saga, and K-Dash also fought with Jeet Kune Do. But the NES Saga didn't happen in this timeline. But our new protagonist still uses Jeet Kune Do. There's no other connection between those two, and I'm not really going anywhere with this. I just thought that was a neat little fact. Now, the teams for this game were taken straight from KOF 99, except it cut it down from 4 to 3, with the new hero team being Kyo, Benimaru, and Moe. However, there are also 6 strikers and 4 secret strikers that you can select, but those strikers aren't canon. They're just guest stars. So a lot of the NES characters do end up popping up in this game, just as non-canonical assist. At the end of the game, you make your way to the championship ceremony only to find an enraged Iori, as if there's any other kind of Iori. He fights you, but is able to resist the Orochi blood stirring up inside of him, at which point the true host of the tournament arrives, Keith Howard, who says he orchestrated all of this to draw out Iori's Orochi power so that way he could take it for himself. But you defeat him and he runs off, ending the game. And Neo Blood ended up selling well enough in Japan that it actually got a sequel, EX2 Howling Blood. Although I stress, it sold well enough in Japan. Outside Japan, it was kind of a flop. And as a result, the sequel did release worldwide, but almost no one ordered the English copies, making them insanely rare and super expensive. So if you want to play this game, I'd just recommend emulating it. Don't get me wrong, if SNK ever puts out an official re-release of the games, then yeah, get the official re-release of the games. But until they do that, you're way better off just emulating them. Plus, these games still have the crazy complicated SNK inputs, and have you ever tried doing pretzel motions on a Game Boy controller? Yeah.
I don't even want to imagine that, Thorgi. Why would you bring such a thing into existence? Why would SNK do that to us? What the hell? How would you... I have trouble doing that on a pad, let alone a leverless controller. Like, goddamn. On a Game Boy, it's definitely not built for fighting games, that's for sure. Ugh.
Emulate it. Your thumbs will thank you. In fact, I'll go ahead and say that's how I played EX2, and when using an actual controller instead of the tiny Game Boy direction buttons, it feels way better. The original EX Neo Blood felt pretty stiff and clunky, which is to be expected for a Game Boy Advance fighting game,
yeah.
But EX2 actually feels pretty solid. So, King of Fighters EX2 Howling Blood released in 2003, and it continues the story in this new timeline, and this is when things start to get really different. The last game was just, hey, here's one new character and we're fighting geese, and that was kind of it. Now we got a whole new plotline brewing. It turns out that there aren't 3 sacred treasures. There are actually 10. Yes, when the original 3 sacred treasure families fought against Orochi hundreds of years ago, there were 7 other families supporting them with their own mystic treasures. Cut to the modern day, and Chizuru has sensed that Orochi's power is stirring again. So she gets in touch with an old friend of hers, Reiji Ugami, and asks him to go find Kyo. Reiji is another one of the 10 sacred treasures, and his family worked alongside Chizuru's back during the original Orochi War, and as a result, he actually has powers similar to hers. In fact, for a while, people actually thought Reiji was Chizuru's husband because he has a daughter who dresses just like her and shows up for all of his win animations, but no, they're just friends. Reiji finds Kyo, who's now living in America.
So, I guess the daughter is just a fan of Chizuru then? Is that what we're going with?
Okay, I can only guess that after Moe rescued him and helped nurse him back to health, Kyo decided to move here to be with her, or maybe after all of his world traveling, he just really liked the States. Plus, considering he wasn't kidnapped and tortured by Ness in this timeline, he was probably actually able to graduate high school, meaning that nothing was stopping him from moving overseas. But Reiji finds Kyo and Moe and explains to them what's going on, and also reveals that Moe is actually one of the 10 sacred treasures. The 3 of them then form a new team heroes and set out to stop whoever is messing with Orochi's powers. Meanwhile, 2 other sacred treasures meet up with Iori. Miyu Kurosaki, a quiet, isolated girl who can fight with crow feathers, has lost her brother and believes he might be involved in whatever is happening with Orochi. She's looked after by Jun Kagami, a playful, adventurous grappler who acts almost like a big sister to Miyu. The 2 of them go to Iori and ask him for his help tracking down Miyu's brother, and Iori needs 2 partners to join KOF, so it's a win-win. The King of Fighters is once again held, and fighters from all around the world join in, as Kyo and Iori's teams make their way towards the championship. At which point, the host of the tournament, Gustav Munchausen, the most German villain name since Hans Gruber, greets the winners, explaining that he set this whole tournament up to gather, you guessed it, fighting energy.
Yeah!
However, he wasn't doing this to bring back Orochi, but instead, he was trying to resurrect Gainitz. All he needed now was a vessel to put him in. That vessel? Miyu's brother, Shinobu Amau. So, now you have a fight against a resurrected pre-teen Gainitz. That's a sentence I wasn't expecting to say when I started this retrospective. But once you defeat him, Shinobu starts to fight back against Gainitz, and he ends up going berserk, awakening his own sacred treasure powers. You must now fight the berserk Shinobu, and oh, this fight! This is going next to Neo Wave Geese alongside horribly frustrating spin-off bosses. Shinobu has the power of lightning, and he has an attack that fills up half the screen, and it has a 0-frame startup. It just happens instantly, and it costs
so he just decides
no
when you
harm,
die.
so he can just spam it whenever he wants. Yeah. The second you start moving, he just nukes half the stage. Were you smart enough to block it? Don't worry, he'll do it again. But in the end, you defeat Shinobu, and you're treated to these super dramatic end credits where Shinobu's fate is left up in the air. If you play Kyo's team, then he gets frustrated and says he's done with the 10 treasures and leaves. But if you play as Iori's team, then Miyu is reunited with her brother even if he's unconscious. That sounds way more like the official ending to me. There weren't any more games after this, so we don't know which of these two endings is real, but it really sounds like for the very first time ever, Iori was the actual winner of a King of Fighters.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I mean, again, we don't know for sure which of these two happened, and even if he did win, it was in a non-canonical alternate reality, so it has no impact on the main storyline, but come on, man, Iori's been finding these things since the very beginning. Let him get 1 point up on the board.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sally, this game did not do well enough to get a third installment, which stinks because we still haven't met all the 10 sacred treasures. You know they had more planned, but I can understand why it probably wouldn't have worked. I mean, can you imagine having 2 ongoing yearly King of Fighters storylines set in different continuities releasing at the same time? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think SNK is a big enough company with enough of a budget to pull something like that off. No. Not at all.
Not with the way they've been doing things.
Yeah.
Now imagine it's 3. Jeez, SNK was insane back in the day, but I do wish that this series could have gotten some kind of a conclusion. I really like each of these new characters. I think it actually did some pretty bold stuff with the existing heroes that took advantage of the alternate reality setting. I would love to see where this story could have gone. Or if nothing else, bring some of the new characters into the main game. If they announced the next King of Fighters and they said there was going to be a Team Howling Blood or a Team 10 Treasures, that'd be awesome.
Be cool.
I would love to see that.
Yeah.
But okay, now we are finally done with the King of Fighters spin-offs. Just kidding, pull out your phones because it's time for the mobile games. Now, as I said, I'm not covering all of these. Heck, I'm not even going to cover most of these because there have been more King of Fighters mobile and browser games than you think. No, seriously, take an actual guess at how many you think there are. Whatever your guess is, it's probably higher than that. Many people suggested I should give these spin-off games their own video. I could give the mobile games their own video, but I'm not going to cover all of them because many—
Is that a fighting rhythm game? Please tell me no.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh no.
Many of them have had almost all information on them snapped out of existence. There was a whole line of KOF board games and sports games for mobile devices, including Mahjong and volleyball. But all I can find on them are these archive sites from years ago with these really small
photos.
Do they not
just have any transparency for the sprites?
Maybe, or maybe it's because of like an emulation in order to be able to even play it and record it. Yeah, probably.
Although I will make sure to shout out Burn KOF Sports Festival, which featured tug-of-war, obstacle races, and conclude with a cavalry battle against Rugal, riding on an actual horse. And the roster of characters featured includes Heavy D. Yeah, who'd have thought this is where he would reappear? Glad to see they finally remember the character, but at the same time, it's still kind of an insult because this is a sports festival game, and they could only include 1 member of the American sports team. Even when these guys win, it's still kind of an insult. I had to do it one more time. Also, a lot of the KOF mobile games are just ports of other games, so there isn't really much to say there. Although I will give a shout out to a follower who wanted to make sure that I knew about them and sent me some promo posters for KOF Extreme for the N-Gage and King of Fighters for the Playphone, which is a phone I didn't even know existed until just this moment. Damn, SNK will port KOF to anything. I'm shocked you can't play it on your fridge.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's gonna be part of the meme of play it on your Samsung fridge or something. Oh, brother. You can play it on potato, just like Doom.
Mobile KOF games that are recent and are original games. Honestly, I just don't really have anything to say about them, and I haven't seen anyone in the KOF fanbase really care about them. But if you are interested,
I can see why.
Here's the lightning round for you. King of Fighters Chronicles is a tower defense game. That's all I got. King of Fighters Cross Gauro Densetsu is a puzzle/card game. Neat. King of Fighters M is a tactical RPG with so many numbers on screen I think I'm going to go blind. King of Fighters 98 Ultimate Match is a tactical RPG with so many numbers on screen I think I'm going to go blind, but based around King of Fighters 98 because that game will never die. King of Fighters Encounter was a game where you fought other players you walk past. That sounds ambitious, but there was no way it was going to work. And lastly, Rhythm of Fighters is...
okay. This isn't Pokemon Go. We are not that big to pull something like that off, alright? Calm down, SNK.
A KOF rhythm game that actually sounds like a good idea. Sucks this is an 8-year-old dead phone game. I would totally play this. However, there were 4 games that I did think were interesting enough to be worth spotlighting. Let's start with King of Fighters World. This was an MMORPG developed in China in 2017 to take advantage of the popularity of King of Fighters 14. The game is notable for 2 reasons. One is that it introduced 4 original characters to the KOF world: Miura Taka, Faith Brown, Hoshino Kaoru, and the edgiest character in KOF history, Snake. In fact, Snake is so edgy, he literally just has Eeyore's moveset. He is the edgelord version of an already existing edgelord. The game only existed for about 2 years, but it is worth pointing out that back in 2009, SNK tried to make another MMORPG for China, also called King of Fighters World, but it was cancelled. Only for this King of Fighters World MMORPG for China to come out 8 years later. And apparently the two are not connected at all. Nobody who worked on one game worked on the other. No elements from one game were recycled for this one. It is entirely just a crazy coincidence. Now, a King of Fighters MMORPG, that's not that weird. You know what is weird?
I mean, back in the day, MMORPGs were just being spit out left and right. That was just a thing. Nowadays, not so much, for good reason. They just don't survive, and it doesn't really work out, unfortunately.
It's definitely much more of a dead genre. There are a few stragglers, but yeah.
Still waiting for like the really breakout one. Like Blue Protocol died, and then it lived, and then it's kind of meh still. Like Star Resonance doesn't really fix any of the issues, so and there that goes. I guess it's just the old crew back then during the OG days of World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy 14. And what other MMORPGs are still being played out there?
announced Ion 2, so they're still trying.
Yeah. Ion 2, I haven't heard too many good things about, but I haven't tried it myself, so I don't know. Yeah.
From what I've heard, it's all the bad things about MMOs, but none of the good things.
It's really sad because I know that you love Ion, well, the first Ion a lot, and I was hoping this could be like, another Blatant Soul for us, but I don't think it's going to be. I can still hope, though.
Doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
King of Fighters Orochi Go. King of Fighters Go? What is this, a Pokemon Go ripoff? Oh my god!
What? What the fuck am I looking at? What is that, Blue Mary on top of a tower? What is she doing over there? The way Thorgi was
Someone
just
get
like,
her down.
Oh my god!
King of Fighters Go. What is this, a Pokemon Go ripoff? Oh my god, it is!
Oh,
yes,
Jesus.
I am not kidding you. This was an augmented reality game made in 2018, and it is totally just Pokemon Go with King of Fighters characters.
Bro, I'm pretty sure
Camera.
I mentioned it earlier, actually. You're not Pokemon Go, you can't do this. But they did. Yeah. They tried.
It only launched in Taiwan, and the last update on the game's Facebook page was in 2019, so...
Dead.
Yeah, it's dead. But this was real. This was an officially licensed game, which just lets me know that no matter what happens, SNK will always be a chaos engine that just grabs up whatever idea it can find and goes nuts with it. You walk around and find King of Fighters characters out in the wild, and you recruit them so you can do raid boss battles against Orochi. This is insane. I literally got teary-eyed looking at footage of this because it's so stupid, it's circled around to being beautiful. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, a KOF Pokemon Go ripoff, how can it get any weirder than that? Well, the answer is, it can't. That's it. That's the peak of weirdness. It does not get any weirder than that. But the next game is also pretty surprising. King of Fighters for Girls, which launched in 2019. It's a dating sim where you play as a young, nameless protagonist who just started a new job at a dojo that is working closely with the next King of Fighters tournament. Over time, you get to know multiple KOF characters, grow closer to them. Listen, it's a dating sim, you know how this works. Your potential suitors include Team Kyo, made up of Kyo, Benimaru, and Shingo. Team Terry, made up of Terry, Andy, and Joe. Team K-Dash, made up of K-Dash and Maxima. Team Orochi, made up of Yashiro and Chris. Team Ryo, made up of Ryo, Robert, and oddly enough, Bao.
What?
Bao.
Okay.
Like,
the kid?
I get that you want to include a Psycho Soldier's character in here, but you just completely skipped over Kinzu and pulled Bao out of storage. Damn, Kinzu can't even get a date in a game where that's the premise.
Poor dude.
Yori is in there by himself. And lastly, there's Team Shinsekai, made up of Billy Kane and 2 brand new characters. Nagi, the organizer of this year's KOF, he's super affectionate, but very mysterious. And then there's Nagi subordinate Yomi, who's your typical cold, distant pretty boy. The game only lasted for 2 years, but in that time it built up a strong fan base.
It's got a nice art style.
Yeah, this is the sort of art style that I see from these type of visual novels, so I guess
That's
it would...
better than a lot of them, to be honest.
Really? I mean, I've never played one of them, so I wouldn't know. I'm going to have to entrust this to you.
But I've seen screenshots, and I'm like, that's kind of...
Gotcha. We need to call in the expert here. Where's Kiwi when you need her?
Yeah, where is Kiwi? This is how we get her into King of Fighters.
Yes! But, yeah. It's a cool idea, I guess. There's a completely untapped market.
That's a terrible name, though.
Yeah. I raise an eyebrow at KOF for Girls. Brother, could you not be like a little more subtle about it? Just make it like an Otome game. Just regularly title it.
I actually follow multiple people on Twitter who were upset to see this thing go. And hey, I'm not against the King of Fighters dating sim. You all want to make smooches with your favorite fighting game character? You have at it. Go nuts. Listen, I got a couple dozen hours in Monster Prom. I get it. Who am I to judge? But did you have to call this King of Fighters for Girls?
Exactly.
I mean, it's obvious you were trying to bring in a female audience with it, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but calling it King of Fighters for Girls makes it sound like you're saying the main KOF games aren't for girls. Like you're saying,
it's kind of off-putting.
Yeah. I don't think that was the intent, but it certainly comes off as that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
No, ladies, you don't want these fighting games. They're for men. Here, enjoy these dating games. That's what you like, right? Plus, who's to say a guy wouldn't want to play this game? I know some male KOF fans who would enjoy this. It's a fun idea, but there's a million better things.
If I had to choose who I would date if I did play this game, it's going to be either Terry, Yori, or Shingo.
I mean, honestly, yeah, those are solid.
You got any picks?
He didn't say Ken. I would have put Kim Kap-won in there.
Yeah.
I'm sad he's not.
I don't think Kim's in this. For some reason, they should have added Kim. What the hell?
Right?
I feel like Kim would be super popular with a female
Kim
audience.
and his amazing pants.
Yeah. Can we date specifically the pants instead?
Yeah.
You could have called it. That's all I'm trying to say. And the final mobile game I want to cover today is the game you probably already knew about, even if you're not a KOF fan. King of Fighters All-Stars. This game launched in Japan in 2018, but it kept growing and growing in popularity until eventually they decided to release it worldwide, and this has now grown to the point where it has become not only the most successful KOF mobile game, you could actually argue this is the most successful KOF anything. Bruh. It's a beat-em-up isekai where you play as a faceless character who gets sucked into a big computer program that makes you live through the previous KOF tournaments, while occasionally gain some story involving 4 young computer programmers who are so color-coordinated you'd think they were Power Rangers. And I'll admit, I am not a fan of mobile games. There are a few I like, but typically they're not my thing. And yet, even I have downloaded this game and have put tons of hours into it.
Oh boy.
Don't get me wrong, it's still got problems. It's guilty of doing tons of those super predatory mobile game practices, like giving you 1,000 different currencies and tokens and collectibles that all do different things. and this game loves its FOMO. Fear of missing out is the name of the game for KOF All-Stars. But, that being said, yeah, it's actually pretty good. The combat is surprisingly fun. There's a dozen different modes with unique objectives. It's a great tribute to the KOF series, and you can unlock multiple versions of almost every single KOF character. And they've got some killer alternate costumes for them. As someone who loves when games do Halloween events, the Halloween costumes in this game are so freaking good. Seriously, SNK, bring these costumes into the mainline KOF games. I will buy them. But the gameplay and the characters and the costumes, that stuff isn't what King of Fighters All-Stars is known for. No, what made this game famous was two things. First, the worst advertisement anyone has ever made for an SNK property, which I will not be showing you here.
Oh, what? Did Terry just slap all their asses as he drove by?
Oh no, it's one of those ads.
Terry would never do that, by the way. And everything that we learned about the guy, he would never, but the advertisers maybe don't know.
And secondly, and more importantly, the crossovers. This game has been downloaded more than 5 million times, and it's because KOF All-Stars knows how to get its name out there. It's like the cranberry of mobile games. If you got something they can mix with, it'll be there. In 2018, shortly after the game launched, they had a crossover with the anime series Gintama, a series that might not be as huge as your Dragon Balls or your One Pieces, but still really got that loyal fan following.
Pretty big,
and that got the ball rolling. Then they crossed over with Samurai Showdown, then with Tekken. Then the game blew up when they crossed over with the WWE, which gave us the best interaction in King of Fighters history.
Foolish human, my name is...
It doesn't matter what your name is!
By the way, SNK, I don't know if you still have a partnership going with the WWE, but just gonna throw it out there. The New Day is already a 3-person team. Do with that information what you want. When the WWE crossover happened, I saw it spreading everywhere. People who don't even know what the heck a King of Fighter is were talking about. And from there, this game just kept going, crossing over with 7 Deadly Sins, Guilty Gear, Street Fighter. This thing is a beast and has no sign of slowing down, as they recently announced they were looking into bringing this game to the PC, and if you do that, SNK, please give this thing controller support. I don't mean just assign all your moves to random buttons on your controller like you do with your phone. No, I mean the combat is fine, but it is kind of brain dead. Let me just input the commands to do the moves so it's a little bit more challenging. That's all I'm asking for. Then also maybe tone down all the freaking announcements you load me up with every time that I log in. I know you...
Okay, the thing is...
They won't.
Then they're not going to. Because, I mean, the game is still making money, it's still working, and doing this makes them the money, so they're just going to keep on doing it.
Well, we already know these guys want the gambling money, so yeah, no shot.
They do want to make the pachinko players, the gamers into the pachinko players, so yeah.
They're just turning them into the gacha players.
It is
That's a far more easy convert.
Oh god, it is, and it's kind of getting to me. I have to remind myself that I hate it. I won't support it. But man, all these crossovers, man.
I can't. I have sworn off gachas. Ignore the fact that I started playing Arknights. I have sworn off gachas for good.
I got plenty of time to play Warframe and do an Abyss, so I think I'm just gonna stick to that, honestly. Yeah.
Tell me microtransactions, but I don't need 5 screens telling me what to buy before I even start the game. Okay, now, serious this time, we have finally reached the end of the King of Fighters spinoffs. And that means that we can go to our final game in this retrospective, is what I would really like to say, but unfortunately for me, they also put out some animes and a movie. Yes, if you're going to try and make the complete King of Fighters retrospective, then you can't leave out KOF's attempts to enter into other media. The first of which was a series of short OVAs called King of Fighters Another Day. We already discussed this a little in part 3, but this was a series of shorts made to promote the upcoming King of Fighters Maximum Impact 2. It featured different KOF characters in Southtown on a night when an explosion caused the city to be engulfed in flames. It's a very interesting idea, showing what different heroes are doing on that night and how it all comes together to form one story, and the animation is actually really good. If you want to check it out, you can binge the whole thing in less than half an hour, and it's been uploaded a dozen different times on YouTube, so it shouldn't be that hard to find. Although I will go ahead and spoil one thing for you. The person who caused the fire that this whole story centers around? Ash Crimson. You know.
But his flames are green.
The character who wasn't in King of Fire's Maximum Impact 2? The game these animated shorts were made specifically to promote? SNK really did not know what it was doing with Maximum Impact, did it? Well, over a decade later, in 2017, King of Fighters would once again attempt to enter into the world of animation with the series King of Fighters Destiny, which adapted King of Fighters 94, as well as the original Fatal Fury game, and a few flashbacks and references to the very first Art of Fighting. And this has been a rather divisive series in the KOF community. Some people love it and think it's great, some people hate it and say it's trash. I'm kind of right in the middle. I think it's fine. It certainly isn't good, but it's got some good moments in there. Some of the fights are fun, I had a few chuckles at a couple of the jokes, and I'll admit that the majority of the time whenever this tries to be serious, it falls flat on its face, but there are a few decent moments in here, like there's one flashback episode going into King's backstory that's actually pretty good exploration of her character. And I can't pretend like the theme song isn't a banger. I had this thing stuck in my head for a month.
Oh, no!
But while I don't think the show is bad, there is a lot of bad in here. The animation is terrible. Some of the emotional moments feel so awkward. Like there's this moment where some random kid just asks Terry to adopt him, and it's supposed to be a sweet moment, but it's hilariously corny. Also, the kid is clearly meant to be Rock Howard, but that makes zero sense with how the scene is set up, but whatever, that's the least of this show's problems. And some of the big iconic moments land like a deflated balloon. I got so hyped when Terry faced Geese on the top of his tower. Soy Sauce for Geese starts playing, the action starts ramping up, and that fight is over in 5 seconds.
Yikes.
Also, side note, SNK, stop inventing girlfriends for Terry just so you can kill them. This is like the third time you've done that. Just let him date Blue Mary already. SNK uploaded.
What the hell? Oh, this was the one where they had the American sports team return just to get possessed and then beat up again. Oh no.
Damn.
The whole series on their YouTube channel for free, so if you want to watch it, then you can do that all nice and legal-like. Unfortunately, though, the show did not take off like SNK wanted, or more accurately, like Lato Millennium wanted to. Yeah, when Millennium bought SNK, they said they wanted to turn it into, their exact words, a Marvel-style property.
There was no way that was gonna work. You don't have the history for it. I'm sorry.
The history or the money.
Yes. Yeah, we don't have the comic book money. We're struggling just to make video games.
And hey, KOF is actually perfect for that. I've even compared it to the MCU multiple times with how it brought all these franchises together. But this show was kind of a dud, and their dreams of an SNK cinematic universe kinda died there. Although there is a sequel film that is planned to be released later this year called King of Fighters Awakens, so we'll see how that goes. And before anyone tells me I forgot about it, yes, King of Fighters Destiny also.
Okay, you know, at least they're still giving it a shot. They're trying their best. I hope it works out. If it has already been released, I hope it's good. But yeah, I can see what Thorgi is saying, that the basic idea for it is there, that it is a culmination of all these like different universes under SNK property. So it could work that way. I just don't think it has enough of a fan base to really go to that level or even sustain itself. I hope it works though.
Had a mobile game. It was a beat 'em up that was again here for a moment and then gone. But it did feature a new playable character, Ying, who was created to be a self-insert / crossover of the famous Chinese actress Angelababy, who most Western audiences probably know from Independence Day Resurgence. Man, she must have the craziest agent in the world.
Right.
That brings us to probably the most embarrassing spot on KOF's record, and believe me, that's saying something. King of Fighters, the movie, released.
Is this a live-action King of Fighters? Oh no. Oh no. Okay. I know that there was one for Street Fighter. I know that there was one for Tekken. No, not Tekken.
Mortal Kombat has movies.
Mortal Kombat, yeah. I think I've seen the Mortal Kombat one, and I wouldn't say it was good, but there were some really funny lines there that I still kind of remember. Of just like the way the lines were delivered. They just sort of stuck with me. I forget the words, but I do remember the exact scene.
Did someone yell Mortal Kombat?
I actually don't remember. I'm sure there was at some point. I'm almost certain there would be, right? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds kind of cheesy to do that. Like, they were doing cheesy stuff, but not that cheesy. Maybe. Could be wrong, though.
2010. And you might be thinking to yourself, I didn't know they made a King of Fighters movie, and there's a reason for that. The film was made for $12 million, and it brought in $500,000.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That's a bad margin.
Yikes. We didn't even make a return on investment. Ooh.
And fighting games have had historically bad live-action adaptations, and yet King of Fighters might be the cream of the moldy crop. Because not only is this movie bad, but it doesn't even resemble King of Fighters in the slightest. Mortal Kombat Annihilation is bad, but at least it looks like Mortal Kombat. This movie opens with the protagonist of King of Fighters, Mai Shiranui, putting on the sci-fi earpiece that freezes time and transports her to the magic realm where she can fight her rival, Mr. Big.
What are we talking about? Did the scriptwriter, play any of the games? Know any of the lore?
No, surely not. Why would he?
Standing there with his luscious head of hair, Mai, in her iconic blue dress, is able to defeat Mr. Big with her famous lightning powers. Yeah, this was meant to be a...
What the fuck? It just gets worse. What are you talking about? This movie was made for nobody.
King of Fighters movie in name only. The movie opens with walls and walls of producer credits scrolling by, and it is clear this is a too many cooks situation. It feels like every single producer had their own idea of what they wanted this to be, and this is the weird homunculus created by all of that coming together. There are some elements of the game in here. It does feature weapons dealer Rugal, here played by Darth Maul himself, Ray Parks,
dealer Rugal,
who is about 2 feet shorter than Rugal is in the games, but that should be the least of your critiques about Rugal's depiction in this film. And he is trying to get his hands on the 3 sacred treasures, and he's going to do that by rollerblading in a hockey jersey? Yeah, I don't even know what to say about this scene. And it does feature Kyo and Iori and Terry Bogard, except that Kyo is now a white guy, Iori is Mai Shiranui's lovey-dovey rich socialite boyfriend, and Terry Bogard is a secret government agent. Do I need to keep going?
What?
Okay, fine. The movie isn't anything like the games, but is it good as its own thing?
No.
Nope. The only thing really worth pointing out about this movie is that Terry Bogard was played by David Leitch, who would later go on to direct Deadpool 2, Atomic Blonde, and Hobbs and Shaw, and would co-direct John Wick.
Yo!
King of Fighters, a fighting game, had a movie adaptation that featured legendary action movie director David Leitch as an actor. You were this close, King of Fighters movie, and that...
That's insane. That is... Wow. Just wow.
I wonder if we could find that somewhere. If we could watch it.
That would be one hell of a reaction. I feel like by the end of it, I would want, however long the runtime is, I want the time back. Like,
yeah.
just from what they've been talking, that's what Thorgi has been saying about the plot, the characters, and just seeing a little bit of CGI. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be worth watching. And somebody put 12 million into that. Yikes, bro.
Boy.
Is it. Seriously, we are now finally done. Sure, there is so much more that we could go over, like the audio dramas, the novels, the card games, and of course all those mangas I mentioned, or even better, the manhwas, which get really, really weird, like the KOF 96 manhwa that features not so legally distinct versions of Tekken characters.
Bruh. Wait. Isn't that King? And then you have the main character there too. We need to learn about Tekken still, but I think his name is Kazuya or something.
I had to find a way to sneak that in here somewhere. But no, I have to put a stop to this somewhere. We have spent far too much time in Spinoff Town. It is time to finally head into the finale of this retrospective. It is time to talk about King of Fighters 15.
Wow. That was one heck of a journey just to get to here.
Yeah.
To finally talk about 15.
Funny match.
I'm good to keep on going if you are. If not, we can call it here.
I think it's probably best we call it here.
Yeah.
I'm having trouble focusing.
Right, fair enough. That was quite a lot that we just went through. Not gonna lie. There's a lot of things I was not expecting to see or hear. Especially
Honestly,
the
same.
whole MOBA mentioned that it only kind of like released in Thailand, was popular and featured more cow of all people. It's just like, what? How did I not hear of any of this? I guess I really am just living under a rock. Damn. Anyways, dudes, that was incredibly hilarious. Kind of shocking. And I've seen a few things I wish I could forget about. But that's your usual recording when you're watching a Thorgi retrospective, I suppose.
True.
So,
especially in the King of Fighters series.
Yes. Yes, indeed. I shudder to think about what all the other fighting games have. Like what they've hidden in their history.
Oh boy.
Because we know surface level stuff. And when you look at King of Fighters from a surface level, you think, oh, it's just the mainline games. And they're pretty cool. They're neat. And then you see all this stuff that happens underneath and to the side. It's like, what the hell? Regardless, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Hope you guys enjoyed your time here. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And Serby and I will catch you guys in the next one. Later, dudes.
Bye-bye.